Hey there folks, Dr. Grimes here. I don't know that I did a very good job in the syllabus and in the syllabus video of explaining to you what I would like to see happen when it's your team's turn to lead the discussion. So I thought I would record what hopefully will be a quick video that walks you through it so that everybody will be on the same page and you'll know what to expect. Let's say, for the purposes of this video, that you are part of Team 1, which has the responsibility of doing the discussion around recruiting, which, as I look at the calendar and film this video, happens to be next week. So fill in the blank in terms of what your team number is and what week you have to do it. Look at the calendar, find the week that you're supposed to be leading the discussion. In this case, Team 1 leads it next week. So back up 1 week. And during the week before your discussion, that's when your team has a flurry of activity interacting with each other through GroupMe or discussion boards or whatever the case may be, because it's in the week before your assigned week. Again, this week we're talking about generations. Next week is strategy, so the strategy team, Team 1, should be working this week to get it all prepared. During this week, Team 1 should be independently looking through SHRM, reading articles, making a list of the articles they think are best in regards to recruiting and what HR's role is in that, why recruiting is important, how HR does it, best practices on how that works, anything at all that you think is significant to help somebody who doesn't know much about HR understand what this responsibility of recruiting is all about, and why it is good for us as managers that HR does this. So you are on Team 1, you're doing some research on your own, Monday, Tuesday, whatever. You're coming up with a list of SHRM articles, and maybe you're putting down a couple of sentences, bullet style, about what the key ideas are about recruiting. Somewhere Tuesday, Wednesday time frame, you're starting to compile all of your work. Somebody is kind of emerging as the leader, the coordinator of the process, and everybody's sending information to that person. Perhaps I'm the leader for my group, Team 1. All of you are sending your information, your articles, your thoughts to me. As a group, we're kind of looking over these articles, and we're coming to an agreement on maybe 4 or 5 that really seem to be key. And I'm looking for things that have some substance to them. If it doesn't take you a couple of scrolls to get through the article, there's probably not sufficient information in there to really help somebody who doesn't know HR understand what recruiting is. So you're coming to a consensus on which 4 or 5 articles that we want to use. I'm looking for at least 4 from SHRM, but if you want to give me 5 from SHRM, or you want to give me 1 from Forbes or Biz Review or whatever, if at least 4 of them are from SHRM, we're pretty good. The point of this is to be able to use SHRM. So you're compiling the list of 4 articles, the list of their titles and their URL links. You're also putting together everybody's ideas on what the talking points are. That's a page with maybe 8 or 10, 12, I don't know, bullets, sentence each. Don't have to necessarily be bullets. You can put it paragraph form like I've been doing. You go back and look at my talking points. That's a pretty good format for what I'm looking for. But it ought to be the executive summary on the week. Somebody who's not in your team, who's going to have to participate in the discussion next week, should be able to read through your talking points and get a pretty good idea, overview of what recruiting is all about. And that helps them, as they start to read your articles, to begin to develop their own ideas. So you're also, in addition to coming up with the URL links and the titles for 4 or 5 articles and some discussion talking points, you're also coming to a consensus, I guess, as a group on what are the 1 or 2 real interesting discussions that you think that we could generate some conversation about. So it's kind of open-ended stuff. Why do you think that this, blah, 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 or what do you think is the purpose, or if HR does this well, what are the values, where have you seen examples, blah, 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 any of those kinds of things. Discussions work really well if there's a couple of choices. So you might want to try to come up with 2 different questions, or maybe 3 different questions. And we'll say in the instructions that you should, as an individual student who's not part of this team, address 1 of them. Not all 3, but 1 of them in just a paragraph or so. So by Thursday at noon, I'm wanting whoever your leader is for your group to email me a document that has at least 4 SHRM article titles, at least 4 SHRM article URL links, a good set of talking points, and 1 or more good discussion questions. So one person emails me that on behalf of the group. I then go Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, whenever I get it, and load it out to the discussion boards and all of the information and whatnot, so that folks can have access to it on Sunday morning. Then Sunday morning at 1 a.m. it comes open. You as the leadership team kind of sit back and watch. I don't expect you to make a primary post because you're the expert. I don't want you to lead the discussion. I want you to interact with and extend the discussion. So you wait until other people in the class make their primary posts. And then each of you at this point, you've worked together the week before to develop the material, but now you're working independently. You're interacting with your classmates, and your teammate is interacting with your classmates. And during the course of a week when you're not the lead, I'm looking for 4 posts during the week. As a team leader, you got to be a little bit more involved. So I'm looking at maybe 6 or 7 posts, but don't do them all the same day. Put one Monday, one Tuesday, one Wednesday, whatever. Just kind of read through, allow your teammates to do some responsive posts. You jump in every now and then. Work kind of as a team unofficially to interact with your classmates, but do this from the perspective that I need to interact some with them. So during the week, you're reading the classmates' posts and you're jumping in every now and then asking follow-up questions. What did you think about this? Or you made this comment, what did you mean by that? Or had you thought about this kind of a situation or whatever, to try to keep the conversation going and extend it. All right, so again, the week beforehand, you're working together as a team to develop the material. The week of the discussion, you're individually interacting with folks on the discussion board, coming up with 6 or 7 maybe posts during the course of the week. And then you're kind of thinking about your teammates and how much they've contributed to the process. The discussion closes at 11:59 p.m. on the Sunday after it opened. Again, so it's open for 8 days. After it closes, so Monday of the week after your leadership week. So if your team won during strategy, this week you're putting it all together. Next week you'll be interacting with them. The week after that, each of you on the team will submit a Dropbox to Topic Lead 1. Nobody submits a Dropbox until they have done their week. The week has ended and we're into the following week. And at that point, you as an individual member of the team will submit exactly what your team leaders emailed me a week and a half earlier. You'll submit to me individually, every one of you, the same document with the titles of your articles, the URL links of your articles, the talking points for your discussion, and the discussion question. But then you're going to add a piece that's different from everybody else. So if somebody wants to take that original document and send it to everybody, you've got the starting point. You add a paragraph at the end where you list the names of everybody on your team, and you give them a grade of A or B or something. You might pick one of them that is kind of the superstar, and you give them a plus. And everybody else gets an A or a B or maybe a C, depending on how much they interacted. Now, and I know that the way this works is you don't want to be the guy that gives everybody else a bad grade, but be real honest in your reflection. And if there's somebody who didn't help much in the research, didn't contribute much to the talking points, or maybe they just kind of went absent during the week, grade them lower. Be honest, because I'm watching too. I don't know what happened in the week when you were preparing, but I see what happens during the discussion board. And if I see that one of your teammates doesn't interact much on the discussion board, I'm going to expect that you see that too, and you're going to score that person a B or a C or whatever, depending on what they did during the preparation week. So I would expect that there would be a C or 2 if somebody just really doesn't do their fair share. There's probably going to be a lot of A's. There might be a B. It's not the end of the world if you give somebody a B, because I'm averaging all this together, and somebody that gets a B from one but an A from the rest still ends up with an A. But be honest in your assessment. And not only do you give me their name and the letter grade, the plus, the ABC, that you think accurately depicts their contributions to this whole process, I also want you to kind of give me a sentence or two as to why you picked that grade. I put this person as a C because it just didn't feel like they were very active during the discussion board. Or I gave this person a B because they contributed a little bit, but kind of sat back and let other people do the bulk of the heavy lifting. Or I gave this person a plus because she did this and this and this and this, and took the leadership and coordinated things or whatever. I gave this person an A because I thought that they did their fair share and their quality was pretty good, whatever. So hopefully that's the basis of what we're doing. The key things to take away is that if you're not in the leadership team for next week, you don't do anything at all this week. Somebody else is doing the hard work this week. If you are a part of the leadership team for next week, you're researching this week. And then next week, you're responding to the discussion board, and the week after that, you're submitting the Dropbox with the follow-up grading evaluation part of it. So if you happen to be team number 5, you're not doing anything really significant for the next 4 weeks or so. But then you start to get busy. Everybody's going to do this twice. This is the generations week that I'm doing. Then we'll have teams 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 each take a week. Then I'll take another week to give y'all a break, and then we'll go through the cycle again, teams 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So twice during the semester, you will spend a week researching, followed by a week interacting in the discussion board, followed by a week where you give me feedback. Hopefully that all makes sense. If you don't understand it, give me a call, ask me a question on the discussion board, ask Dr. Grimes, send me an email, whatever it takes to make sure that you understand this. And hopefully, again, that does make a whole lot more sense. I apologize to you for not being a little bit more clear on the front end. Tried to talk through it quickly on a lengthy syllabus video and didn't apparently either hit the highlights that you needed, or maybe you didn't watch the syllabus video. I don't know which. But hopefully you've watched this and it's making sense to you, and that you will do a great job going forward with your discussions.